What's going on, y'all? It's Trev. I am back. I want to talk to you about something that, and I want to give credit where credit is due. I got this from, I'm going to bring this up so you can see it. I saw this on Lunatic Lunk Lover 69, my good friend who you've seen on the channel a few times. I've saw this on his Twitter. He posted this and brought my attention to it. So I read through it really quick because I found it interesting. It's not very long. And so I want to read it for you, and I have a few thoughts on it. So this is Gary Gensler. He is the director of the SEC, the chair of the SEC in the United States, right? And he made some comments recently that have made the news. So it says the SEC chair, Gensler, says crypto exchanges may not be qualified custodians. Well, we already knew that he felt that way, but he made this public statement, and it's noteworthy. U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC Chair Gary Gensler pushed back on the idea that crypto exchanges could be safe, qualified custodians for investment advisors. Speaking at an investor advisory committee meeting Thursday, Gensler said a recently proposed rule directing investment advisors to look to qualified custodians for storage of assets, including cryptocurrencies, makes important enhancements to existing protection rules. He also said crypto exchanges should not be considered safe under those guidelines. Based upon how crypto trading and lending platforms generally operate, investment advisors cannot rely on them today as qualified custodians, Gensler said. To be clear, just because a crypto trading platform claims to be qualified, a qualified custodian, doesn't mean that it is. All right. The SEC chair pointed to recent bankruptcies in the crypto sector, noting that customers' property held on those platforms are now part of the bankruptcy estate, rather than returning directly to the customers. The proposal takes up Congress's 2010 provision for us to expand the custody rule to cover all of an investor's assets, not just their funds or securities. Congress granted us new authorities to expand the custody rule in response to the financial crisis and Bernie Madoff's frauds. The expanded custody rule would help ensure that advisors don't inappropriately use, abuse, or lose investors' assets, Gensler said in his remarks. So, the typical MO, right? Make everybody afraid. Make everybody scared. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt, right? Used in as negative a way as possible to justify being able to rule over everything, right? So yeah, you know, if you've got your assets on an exchange, if you're not holding them in a wallet, right? You got them on an exchange because you're trading them, you're doing whatever you're doing. If something happens to that exchange and all of a sudden tomorrow you find out they went bankrupt, well, your assets could be caught up in that legal fight, right? And you're not going to have access to them. This is why we say to keep your stuff on a wallet, right? Whether it's something like a ledger, or if you're working with Trust Wallet or whatever, right? So those things have happened, and they're going to pull from that. Gensler is going to pull from that and say, look, listen, there's things like that. There's things like the crap that Bernie Madoff was pulling. I mean, we gotta poke our heads in here, and we have to put in some regulations, some stiff regulations to protect you people, to protect you from these evil people who are looking to screw you and take your money, right? Yeah, there are evil people out there who are looking to screw us and take our money. We know that, right? That's true. Here's my thing. If what they were looking to do is say, okay, around the platform, this decentralized platform that you have of cryptocurrency and the way that it works, around that, what things can we do to help protect investors from rug pulls, from nefarious characters, from bad actors who would seek to take your money without you knowing or whatever. Protect us from that or help us find ways to protect from that. That's one thing. What they want to do is they want to implement some policy that basically gives them rule over the whole thing. They want to be able to tell you what cryptocurrencies are legit and which ones aren't, which ones can do business and which ones can't, possibly even how much you can invest in particular cryptocurrencies, something like kind of like what Canada kind of did in some ways. It might have been just some regions or whatever, but I mean, they would expand all that stuff and make that kind of the rule of the land where they would have 100% control over it. This is what Gary Gensler wants to do, right? Which totally negates the whole idea behind cryptocurrency. Now, there are some Republican senators and such who are making moves and trying to implement some rules that would kind of curtail some of these things that are trying to come down as far as these stiff regulations. But Congress, unfortunately, moves really, really slow. And Gensler can move a little faster. Now, I don't know if you can hear it, but my dog's in the background moaning. And anytime I get on and I start chatting with you guys and I'm not paying attention to her, she gets an attitude. Anyway, so what they're trying to do, right, is weaponize every bad thing that they can find that's ever happened in crypto, or even some things that are happening now, weaponize it and use it as ammunition for their idea that they want to implement some pretty stiff regulations, that they basically kind of want to take control over things in a way that's not going to be kind of comfortable, that's going to be rather invasive, right? So things like the, Do Kwon, right? You know that the SEC has filed charges on Do Kwon, Terraform Labs, and they're using the whole Terra Luna thing as, an example, right? Say, look what happened here. We lost billions of dollars, right? Some people lost their livelihoods or their lives, right? So we need to protect you from these kind of things. But if you think, and this is where my opinion comes in, okay? Yeah, I've spoken to some people, and I've heard some things from some people that I trust, but let's call this my opinion right now, right? My opinion is that they are going to dive into as much as they can, as many cryptocurrency projects, particularly the big ones, right? As many exchanges, whatever, as they can. They're going to dive into the wallets. They're going to track things and trace things. And they are going to find, if there's something to find that is a little sus, or that is nefarious, or that is outright illegal, right? They're going to find it. And they're going to use it, and they're putting together this package basically to present to you and say, look at everything that we found that you didn't know what was going on, right? You're invested in this, you're invested in that. This is, a top 10, top 20, top 50 cryptocurrency. Look at how many people are invested in it. Did you know that the leaders or the CEOs or whatever of these cryptocurrencies, that they were doing this, that they were doing that, right? This is what you're going to see, in my opinion, over the next maybe 6 to 12 months. They're building a case to justify what they want to do, okay? So we need to be very, very careful. Now, that brings me to, and let me, is it over here? I think it's over here. No, it's not over here. Where is it? Hold on. Let me find this for you. Okay, this. This brings me to a poll that I had put up a few days ago on Twitter. And it was Terra Classic Community. What is your priority for Q2? Now, moving into Q2, basically, what are some of the things that you think the Terra Classic chain should be concerned about, right? And I'm going to put up a few of these polls, but this is the first one that I put up. I don't want to put like 10 options on here. I'm going like 4 at a time, right? And you may see the second poll is already up. You may see a third one come up at some point as well, right? I don't know if there'll be 3 or 4, but anyway, this was the first one, and this was very telling. Now, understand, I know that I'm on the Community Oversight Committee for the L1 Task Force, and I know that the task force is looking to the community to find out what it is the community wants to see them working on in Q2. So this is a part of that. But don't take this as the number one thing here is what's going to get worked on, right? These polls give us information in a lot of different ways. It speaks to the sentiment of the community. It also speaks to the awareness of the community, right? So when I look at this poll, the 4 options were repeg, 100% separation from TFL, L2 task force, in other words, a team specifically to work on Layer 2 development, or a roadmap, a plan, an actual plan that is going to be followed, right? And you can see that repeg dominated this particular poll at 66.3%. Coming in second, way behind, was a roadmap, a sort of plan, right? 16.9%, because I think that a lot of the community is feeling, like I feel very often, that a lot of times we're spinning our wheels. Are we moving forward in one direction, unified together? We're not doing that, right? So it's not surprising to me that that was one of the in second place. But what was surprising to me was that repeg came in so strong. And it tells me a few things, right? But what you all need to know and be aware of is that as long as the Gary Genslers of the world are out there, things like a repeg, right now, until things are settled legally, right? Until we have some sort of legal advice, some legitimate legal advice as to whether or not UST or USTC might have any involvement in any of this legality, if any of that might possibly be caught up in it. And I know that you've had people that come out and said, absolutely it won't, has nothing to do with it, whatever. But you know what? I want to hear it, and I think that you should hear it officially from the legal people, right? Because we've heard from some legal people that it probably will, even though they're not working on the case. So, the opinions are out there, right? But what you should know is that until the L1 task force is advised legally, right? And until we as a chain have some sort of solid legal advice that we can really count on, that it's not being argued or whatever, this is definitive, right? Until we have that, we're probably not going to be looking at UST or USTC until we know that we can legally work with it, right? So I understand that by this 66.3% about the repeg, I know that this represents the large percentage of the community who wants to see this thing get moving. Some of those lost a lot of money in the depegging. Some of you got invested after the depegging and got in really low because you saw a great opportunity, and now you want to see that opportunity come to fruition. And anything that is thrown out there for you that promises to get rid of the supply really fast and to bring the price up really fast, right? You're going to grab hold of really, really tightly. But are you being aware of everything that's going on around us? Are you educating yourself on the legality of what's actually happening and on the probability, a likelihood of us being able to actually work on something like that? I don't think that many are. Because if you were, you would realize that some of the other things on this poll are actually a lot more doable right now, maybe even in quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, than this repeg situation. Now, that could change tomorrow. I mean, I don't know I don't know what the status is of reaching out and getting some sort of legal counsel involved, right? I don't know where we are on that, right? That could be in the works and we could find out something soon. I really don't know, right? Maybe we don't find out anything for a while. Maybe we're advised to let this all play out before we do anything. I don't know, right? But these other things, separating from TFL, just in case this legal stuff really goes down, developing, having some sort of task force to actually help us develop some things on the chain, an actual plan, which might involve maybe some sort of leadership entity to make sure that that plan is stuck to. Those kind of things are things we can actually do, right? So I'm surprised by this poll. And I want everybody to be vigilant. I want you to keep your eyes open, right? Eyes up, stay sharp, as Captain America said, right? Because there are some things that are probably going to be coming down the pike that we need to be aware of, and that could potentially affect things. Maybe affect them positively, maybe affect them negatively, but we need to keep our eyes open and we need to be careful. So thank you for taking part in these polls. They really are invaluable. And the other one, the next one that is up, let me see, I don't know if I can find it for you. Maybe I can find it real quick. It's a video I just put out. Shouldn't be too far down. Okay. So this one here, this is the second one that's out. And the four options are parity with Luna V2, right? Fixing the swap situation, having a swap mechanism. Lowering the supply, which speaks to those of you who are really high on burning, right? That's a priority for you. Or some sort of leadership structure. These are the four things right now. Now, this particular poll, this isn't going to, be multiple days, all right? This one doesn't have very long to go at all. It has 11 hours left. So if you haven't seen this one, go to it, place your vote, and share it so we can get as many. We've got 321 votes right now. That last poll, that was like 4.5 days, and that was like 1,600 people voting. Let's see how many people we can get to vote on this one. I basically should have made this one longer. It's my fault that I didn't. But the next ones, I'll make sure to pay attention to that and at least make them a couple days and give everybody a chance. All right. So those are some of the things that I wanted to bring to your attention right now and some feelings and comments that I had on them. Leave your comments in the comment section, as you guys always feel free to do, and I love it and I appreciate it. Understand that even if you disagree with me or I disagree with you, or even out there in the community, when we disagree, that doesn't mean we have to be enemies. That doesn't make somebody your adversary because they disagree with the way that you see things or vice versa, okay? If the whole world agreed on everything, I mean, it'd be a pretty boring place, right? And disagreeing is actually what helps us to grow and to see different perspectives and to understand things on a more inclusive level, right? So don't get mad when I say something you don't like. Just, tell me about your opinion and why you feel that way, and I want to hear those things, okay? All right, hit the like button if you can on the way out. If you're not subscribed, you want to subscribe, go ahead. If you don't want to, that's fine too. I will talk to y'all later. Ciao.